How the U.S. foreign aid freeze is intensifying humanitarian crises across the globe. Food distribution is being stopped. Health services are being shut down. Life-saving aid is being tied up with no way to disburse it. These aren't warnings of what's to come, but examples of what aid workers say is the fallout of the Trump administration's freeze on foreign aid and the gutting of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. It's heartbreaking for our beneficiaries, for whom this is life and death, a USAID worker said. Another USAID employee told CNN that they have been grappling with the absolute shock from our partners as stop work orders continue into a second week and the reliability of U.S. partnership is called into question. We have programs in Ukraine, we have programs in Burma, in Sudan, and some of the most complicated, dangerous places in the world where there are just massive humanitarian needs, the USAID employee said. All of that is stopped. All of that is paused. Almost all USAID workers and partners that spoke to CNN asked that neither their names nor any identifying information about their work be published, for fear of losing their jobs or losing future funding for their projects. We do work that we think is really important for America's power and stability abroad. We don't do this work because it's nice. We do it because it buys us much more and it gives us much more than we are giving, the USAID employee added. It's devastating to see this on a personal level, and I just think it's so foolhardy on a global level. Despite the administration saying that it has issued waivers for all programs involving life-saving humanitarian aid and food assistance, multiple USAID employees and contractors told CNN that funding for them continues to be halted. The waiver is 100% meaningless to us. A USAID official told CNN in explaining that much of the work on the ground is done by partners who front the money and then get reimbursed. We're not processing any of those payments, so the waiver itself is largely meaningless if you can't get paid. Meanwhile, thousands of Americans and people abroad are losing their jobs as the entire aid industry reels from unpaid contracts. These are a small selection of countries and programs severely affected by the aid freeze. Without safe water, people die, people are displaced. USAID supports hundreds of projects focused on water security in Jordan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, India, and dozens of other nations. An estimated 4 billion people globally don't have access to safe drinking water. Without those programs, animals die, people are displaced, said Evan Thomas, a professor of environmental engineering at the University of Colorado in Boulder. He works on a project in Kenya that helps more than 1 million people access clean water via 200 deep groundwater pumps installed and partially funded by USAID. Now the program is unable to pay contracts with people hired to help maintain and repair the pumps. That entire program is now at risk of falling apart, he said. When people don't have water, when their livestock die, they become very stressed, and there are militias that are willing to take advantage of that stress and recruit for their own aims, said Thomas, citing concerns about the rising influence of terror group Al-Shabaab in Kenya. Undermining the access of people around the world to food and water and medicine is not going to make America more secure. People don't just sit around and die of thirst. They move. They migrate. And so this will create increased migration pressure everywhere in the world, Thomas added. Elsewhere in Kenya, other USAID-funded projects help improve care for HIV/AIDS patients are also being disrupted. Feeding programs in Sudan are being shut down. In Sudan, food kitchens funded by USAID are already shutting down, according to Jeremy Kanindik, the president of Refugees International and a former USAID official. It comes as the UN reports millions of families, many displaced, are experiencing crisis levels of hunger amid the country's ongoing conflict. A lot of displaced people and a lot of people who are caught in famine and other crises could be harmed, if not gravely harmed, if not killed by this pullback of aid, said Kanindik, warning of the wide-reaching impact on refugees in Sudan, Syria, and Gaza.